All right, let's jump straight into this explainer and deconstruct exactly how true life shifts occur. Today, we're looking at a deeply insightful text titled Reflections on Commitment and Transformation. So if you've ever felt completely stuck in neutral while staring at this massive goal on your horizon, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break down the actual anatomy of a life-changing shift.
Actually, we're just going to go ahead and skip the usual agenda today because I want to hook right into the core question that drives this entire text. How do we actually transform our lives? I mean, how do we move from just wishing for a change to actually creating it in our physical reality? It's kind of the eternal question, isn't it? We all have aspirations, we all have that next level up in mind, but the bridge between where we are right now and where we want to be, well, it's often totally shrouded in fog. Our source material today clears that fog with a really specific, actionable framework.
And this quote brilliantly illustrates where most of us trip up right at the starting line. The author bluntly states, you can't just say, I want something, I'm going to transform. This perfectly highlights the central conflict we're tackling today, which is that massive gap between verbalizing a desire and actually executing it. We live in a world that heavily promotes this idea that simply declaring your intentions is somehow enough to spark a change. But as our text points out, words alone absolutely do not move the needle.
So let's get into Section 1, the manifestation myth.
There is a fascinating contrast here between the myth of passive wishing and the reality of active decision-making. We've got this flawed method that basically treats transformation like magic. You sit on a cloud, wish really hard for a sports car, and just wait. But then we have the actual method, and this method demands that you pick a vehicle and go all in. Because true manifestation, it's an active physical process, not just some mental exercise.
That brings us to Section 2, picking your vehicle. The source relies heavily on this word, vehicle. It defines a vehicle not as a literal car, obviously, but as a specific chosen path, a project, or a definitive action that you use to go out and actively create what you want. Think about why the author uses that specific word. A vehicle's entire purpose is to take you from point A to point B. It requires you to actually get in the driver's seat, turn the key, and steer. Think about your own goals right now. What is the specific vehicle you need to trigger that change? According to the text, you simply can't transform without picking one. It's the essential mechanism that triggers the change you're looking for.
Which leads right into Section 3, the all-in decision. Our source maps out a super clear three-step action framework for creation. Step 1, like we just discussed, is to pick the vehicle. You've got to know what you're doing. But steps 2 and 3, that is where the actual magic happens. Step 2 is making the decision to do it, and step 3 is going all in. The text is incredibly specific here. It demands absolute commitment. Just dipping your toe in the water isn't a vehicle, it's a distraction. You really have to commit to doing something bigger.
So the crucial takeaway here is that a half-hearted attempt simply won't work. The author notes that every major shift and level up in their life has been on the backside of an all-in commitment. I want you to really absorb that phrase for a second. On the backside. It implies that the reward, the actual transformation, the life you want, is physically hiding behind this massive wall of commitment. You literally cannot access the level up until you have completely pushed through the decision to go all in on your chosen vehicle. Now for Section 4. Connecting the big dots.
Okay, prepare yourself because here is a total curveball straight from the text. The transformation, it isn't actually the specific event or the thing you decided to do. Wait, what, right? After all that talk about picking a vehicle and going all in, the author reveals that the vehicle itself isn't the actual point. The specific project or milestone you chose is literally just structural support. So if the transformation isn't the thing itself, where does it actually happen?
The author breaks this transformation journey down into 3 distinct phases. Phase 1 is the preparation. It's everything that led up to the thing. It's the late nights, the sacrifices, the intense discipline required just to get to the starting line. Then Phase 2 is what the author calls the big dot, or the rock. That is the event itself, the vehicle, the decision. But then we have Phase 3, and this is where the profound shift really occurs. Phase 3 is everything that happens after the event in order to, as the author beautifully puts it, come back to myself. The real transformation is found in who you had to become during the lead-up and how you integrate that brand new identity after the dust settles. The big dot just serves to connect you to the life you want. To wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with this absolute mic drop of a final thought directly from the source. And everything you want is on the backside of like a new decision. It perfectly summarizes the entire framework. Your transformation isn't found in some passive wish.
It is waiting for you, right now, hidden behind a choice you haven't made yet. So I have to ask you, looking at your own life and that level up you've been wishing for, what new decision do you need to make today to get to the backside where everything you want actually lives?